Joe Douglas has done a great job rebuilding this offensive line over the course of the last 2 years, but he still has a little bit more work to do. We're looking for that right guard position. Here are 10 guys the Jets could target in free agency and the NFL draft. Jets, Jets, Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, this article comes from Jets X Factor, our buddies over at Jets X Factor, by Ryan Moran, the top 10 guard targets for the New York Jets between free agency and the NFL draft. I'll leave a link to the original article down below in the description. While you're over on Jets X Factor, make sure you check out their mock off-season simulator because it is, oh, so fun. Really cool. But in this video, we're going to go over this top 10 guard list, see who I feel are good or bad fits, and then I'll give you my top 5 options at the end of the video for what I would prefer to do this offseason. So up at number 10, we have LDT, the guy we traded for from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was relegated to the backup role after they drafted Trey Smith and brought in guard Joe Thuney to Kansas City last year, so he kind of got knocked out. Obviously, he opted out due to COVID. He was the doctor guard, if you will. He comes back. He has this hanging, I don't want to say controversy, it's hanging cloud over his head with this residency. Is he going to be able to play in 2022, or is he going to have to go back and do his residency? Well, it's been cleared up. He is going to be allowed to hit free agency this year, and I would like the Jets to try and retain LDT before the start of free agency. I think going into this offseason, knowing you at least have a starting 5 across your offensive line would be really, really good. He provided a great boost to the running game when he came in at right guard. He knows the other offensive linemen, and he understands the scheme while already being here already. And I think signing him to a 1 or 2 year deal does not prevent you from drafting your long-term guard answer this spring. He has guard Connor Williams from the Dallas Cowboys. He appeared in 57 games and has 51 starts, allowed just 1 sack in 2021. He had a 76.1 Pro Football Focus grade. That was good enough to be the 9th out of 70 guards graded. That includes left guards and right guards. He is a penalty machine. He's had 30 penalties over the course of his career, including 14 last season. That is the most in the NFL across all positions. So he's the most penalized person in the NFL last year. And he's young. He's only 25 years old. So the upside is definitely there, but the penalties and the negative plays that could impact your team, I don't love this. This was someone that I was definitely keeping an eye on this upcoming season and seeing how many penalties he really had throughout the year. This is not an ideal fit for me. At number 8, he has Austin Corbett of the LA Rams. He played in 100% of snaps in 2020, in 99% of snaps in 2021. Plays in a similar system to what Mike LaFleur runs here in New York. Obviously, the Sean McVay coaching tree and the Shanahan coaching tree are pretty tight. They both work together in Washington, so they're all kind of offshoots of the same tree, but a different branch. He had 4 sacks and 7 penalties over the course of the last 2 years. He graded out as a 68.8 on Pro Football Focus. That was good enough to be the 25th of 70 guards ranked this year, and he'll be 27 years old in September. This is an interesting option because I'm not exactly sure where the Rams sit in salary cap space, but I would imagine they're going to have a lot of guys retiring and a lot of dead cap kind of whacking them pretty soon. So maybe after winning the Super Bowl, maybe he's looking for a little bit more of a payday, or at least, not necessarily looking for a winning organization. So I think this could be an option for the New York Jets, something to monitor at the very least. At number 7, he has a really popular name for New York Jet fans, and that's Brandon Scherff out of Washington. The Jets have been linked to this guy since, what was he drafted, 2015? Jets have been linked to him literally since that draft. A lot of guys wanted him over Leonard Williams. Obviously, he was taken 1 pick ahead of the Jets to go to Washington, and then each of the last 2 off seasons in 2020 and 2021, we were linked to wanting him because of the stellar right guard performance. Unfortunately, he was franchise tagged each of the last 2 years. It does appear like he is going to hit free agency this year. Has missed at least 3 games over the course of each season since 2018. He only played in 11 games last year. He did not allow a sack. He graded out as a 73.6 on Pro Football Focus. That was good enough to be the 14th out of 70 guards ranked. I like Brandon Scherff a lot. I think he's going to command a lot of money because of the draft slot he was picked in, the franchise tags that he has gotten, and the skill that he has. But I think due to injury and the issues that we're seeing on the Jets, personally, with the lack of playing time across a whole bunch of different players, not so much on the offensive line, but I don't want to create an issue on the offensive line by bringing in a really high-priced guy that's only going to give you 2/3 of a season. So I would probably be out on Brandon Scherff. At number 6, a guy that I brought up in my mock offseason. This is Laken Tomlinson of the 49ers. Tomlinson played with Mike LaFleur for 4 seasons, from 2017 to 2020 in San Francisco. Only 1 missed start in 5 years with San Francisco. He graded out as a 75.9 on Pro Football Focus. That was good enough to be the 10th out of 70 guards ranked. He only allowed 2 sacks, and he's turning 30 years old, or just turned 30 years old. This is a guy that I think definitely fits the system, would have comfortable relationships with LaFleur and with Saleh, obviously a familiar face in the room. This is someone I had the Jets taking in my mock offseason because I think as much as I wanted LDT to come back, I thought he might have been lost to the residency. And then as much as I want to take a guard in the draft, the free agency period happens before the draft. So you obviously have to plug your holes in free agency and then figure it out in the draft. So I like Laken Tomlinson. In the event that we lose LDT and he does not want to come back to the Jets, I think this is a player I would definitely target. I think there's just so much cohesion and there's not really any learning curve for him. And at 30 years old, you probably have him for a 3-year contract. And I think maybe you wind up trying to take maybe a depth piece in the 3rd or 4th round at guard if you were to go this route. At number 5, we have another guard that was brought up in the mock offseason. That's James Daniels from Chicago. He had a season-ending pec injury in 2020, started all 17 games this year, graded out as a 71.0 on Pro Football Focus, good enough to make him the 19th of 70 guards graded. He only allowed 3 sacks, but he committed 9 penalties this year. So just like Connor Williams, you're seeing a lot of penalties on your offensive line, and that's not really good because you want your offense to go forwards, not backwards. And he's only going to be 25 years old. So age-wise, just like Connor Williams, if they could figure out the penalty bug, these are young players that could grow with your team and with Zach Wilson for the next 5-6 years. But got to be worried about penalties. He would be a scheme fit as well. He does play in the wide zone scheme up in Chicago, so another fit. I would imagine because of his age, he'll probably go for a little bit more money than maybe I want to spend in free agency, but who knows? We'll see. At number 4, he's got Alex Cappa of Tampa Bay. He's a 3-year starter for the Bucs, played 100% of the snaps over the course of the last 2 years, graded out as a 74.2 on Pro Football Focus. That was good enough to make him the 12th of 70 guards this year. He allowed 5 sacks, but played the 3rd most pass blocking snaps. So if you think about the whole quantity thing, if you're asked to do something a zillion times, you're going to have more issues because you're asked to do it a bunch of times. So I'm not as concerned with the sacks. 1 penalty in each of the last 2 seasons, so only 2 penalties over the course of 2 years. And he's 27 years old. So this guy is hitting the prime of his career right now. He's probably going to be one of the higher paid guards this free agency period. If you could wind up luring him away, maybe because Tom Brady is no longer there and the guy's just looking for a little bit of a payday, if you want to spend some money, this may not be a bad route to go. Can't be upset with that. Now we get to more of the draft pick side of things, and I think this is where a lot of fans want to address this position, ideally. Get a guy that you're locked into for a 4 or 5 year cheap contract on a rookie deal. The first one he has up is Zion Johnson, the guard from Boston College. Zion was on our Senior Bowl team. He was taking snaps, staying after practice, taking snaps as a center, so he's trying to get that positional flexibility as well. He was an 84.4 on Pro Football Focus. His junior year, he allowed 14 hurries, 6 quarterback hits, and 2 sacks. His senior year this year, he cut all that down with just 3 hurries, 2 quarterback hits, and 1 sack. He was a team captain up at Boston College, and his stock has really risen since the offseason. So a player that I would like us to target in the 2nd round likely may have to go at the end of the 1st, and we may not have an opportunity to draft this guy. Now, I think in the situation where you're trading down from 10 to whatever other pick, maybe he's an option for you wherever you wind up. Maybe you're down at the Steelers pick at pick 20, or maybe a little bit further. Or maybe if you're looking to trade back up into the 1st, who knows, maybe that's someone you're possibly eyeing. At number 2, he has Kenyon Green, the Texas A&M guard. He has played all 35 games over the course of the last 3 years, played every position on the offensive line. He even has 1 snap at center. He's a 2-time consensus All-American. He is definitely a scheme fit for this team, and he could be an option at number 10 or in a trade-down situation. He was a lot higher, I think, on draft boards towards the end of the NFL season, and I think I've seen him drop a little bit, somewhere in the mid teens is kind of where I'm seeing him. So if you can trade down from 10, maybe you got Kayvon Thibodeau at number 4, and you want to slide back a little bit, pick up your offensive lineman in the teens while also adding maybe an extra second-round pick or something like that. It may not be a bad option. And at number 1, everyone that, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are talking about this guy. That is Ekwonu out of NC State. Like I said, violent blocker. He is a tackle guard hybrid, so it gives you the positional flexibility to allow Mekhi Becton to continue to grow. And if he doesn't work, you can kick him out to left tackle or right tackle or wherever you want to put him, and you kind of protect yourself in that capacity. 91.8 on Pro Football Focus. That was 9th out of 609 tackles graded. And he would have to be the 4th overall pick. This guy's not falling past the Giants at number 5. I know a lot of Giant fans are like, that's the guy between him and Neal. And I keep trying to tell them, like, hey, look, there's a good shot Jaguars go O-line at 1, and the Jets probably, if the edges are gone, are going to go O-line at 4. So the Giants may be left out in the cold if he's sitting there for the New York Jets at number 4. This is a guy that will bury you 6 feet deep, and this is definitely a player I could see playing opposite Elijah Vera-Tucker, someone that Joe Douglas would really like to get into this team. Like I said, the positional flexibility is really important here with Becton. Now, as far as my top 5 options, how I would like to approach this offseason, I would say the first route I'd like to go is I'd want to bring LDT back. He's step 1 for me. Before free agency starts, bring back LDT, cover your holes. At least you plug in a starter, a guy that's been here for 6 months or whatever it is. I think allowing yourself not to have a hole going into the draft is really important. And then my second option, I would say I want to go edge at 4. So if Thibodeau or Hutchinson is there at 4, that they would be the pick, and then we would move on to option number 3. But if both edge rushers are gone, I would take Ekwonu at 4 and never look back. This guy is a plug-and-play 10-year starter. No questions asked. I'd be really happy with that selection. At number 3, then I would say I would like to trade down and pick up one of Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson. I think Kenyon Green probably provides a little more value for me because of how versatile he's been and just the elite caliber of competition he's gone up against when compared to Boston College. At number 4, I would look at Laken Tomlinson. Again, this kind of sucks because this happens before the NFL draft. So it might be a situation where if LDT doesn't come back, maybe you look to go after Laken Tomlinson as your next step, and then the draft is the final step. And then at number 5, I'm going to go Austin Corbett. I like that he has the connection with the McVay and the Shanahan coaching tree. I think I'll probably steer away from Connor Williams and James Daniels. I think you might be able to get him a little bit cheaper than some of these other options that we'll see in free agency. So that's my top 5 list. Guys, let me know what you think of this list. Is it a good top 10 list? Is there a different order of events in which you would like to see happen for the New York Jets? Let me know everything in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.